It's my turn to make an apartment for this building I'm creating with HipHipRenee. This is my third and final apartment for this collaboration, and Renee has one more apartment left to make as well. Looking at this floor plan, I really didn't see anywhere to add a staircase to the third floor, so instead of building up, I decided to build down. Starting with this storm drain object from the debug of the Werewolves game pack, and then a fenced off tunnel that leads into the sewers. That's right, I built an apartment in the sewers beneath the building. I wanted this space to feel like people shouldn't be here. I used industrial lighting in the tunnel and a long, intimidating stairwell to ward off any would-be visitors. Inside the apartment, I reused that same storm drain debug object in conjunction with the fountain tool to create an underground waterway. As I was building this, I very much intended for it to be a vampire lair. I used a lot of the furniture and decorations from the Vampires game pack, and I even put curtains over all the mirrors. And I know this is going to sound weird, but Victorian Gothic and Industrial Sewer go surprisingly well together. It's giving Castlevania, it's giving Bloodborne. And I'm sorry to admit, these round vents I put on the walls are from Journey to Batuu. I don't generally recommend Journey to Batuu for gameplay, but the build buy catalog from it really does come in handy for industrial builds like this. And I used these archways from the Werewolves game pack to separate the rooms, except for the bathroom, which uses a door. Do vampires even need bathrooms? Well, there's one down here just in case. I also settled on a purple color scheme for this apartment pretty quickly, and once I decided on a bed, I grabbed a bunch of purple furniture from the Vampires game pack to use in this build. I wasn't sure what the floor plan was going to look like at this point, so I just moved the furniture around until I found a floor plan that worked well enough, and then later in the build, I end up moving some of the rooms around and changing it all again. I also never used the pipe organ in my builds, and I thought it would be fun here. I like to think Edmund can hear the pipe organ being played through the floor drains in his basement. I also put a fireplace in here because why not? And since this is a sewer, it's not exactly sanitary down here. There are spider webs and stains of all kinds on the walls and the floor, as well as cracks from the weight of the world above. Most of this apartment is lit by candlelight, but there are a couple of electric lamps in this build. The floor lamp that ends up next to the pipe organ, and the table lamp that ends up next to the love seat. I also went with a bit of a wine theme here, or I guess The Sims calls it nectar. Not only is there a bar in the main living space, but I put a nectar painting and several nectar racks in the front room of the apartment a little later in this build. And when I add the kitchen, I put a few nectar bottles in there too. I actually end up moving this bedroom a little bit later in the video, and this current bedroom space ends up becoming the kitchen, but for now, I'm just decorating the walls with stains and water damage and cracks and grime. I don't know if this apartment is going to house a single sim or a couple, or a master and a thrall, or what. That's up to HipHipRenee, as she's responsible for making the sim or sims that will live here. For all I know, she might not even make a vampire. She might come out of left field with something totally unexpected. And here's that nectar art I was talking about. I think it looks really nice in the front room. At this point, I'm realizing I need to rearrange this build to make room for a kitchen. I can't believe I almost forgot to build a kitchen on another apartment, but to be fair, vampires don't actually need kitchens. It's more for show with them. But I end up moving the bedroom to where the bathroom originally was, and I connect the bathroom to it, so you have to go through the bedroom to get to the bathroom, and I end up putting the kitchen where the bedroom originally was. And I struggled with this kitchen for a minute too, because the way it's shaped made me want to line the walls with counters, but it looked bad no matter how I did that. So I cut the counter space in half, and I put a small dining table in the kitchen instead. Yes, that makes 2 dining tables in this apartment, but that's fine. We'll just say it has both a formal and informal dining space. Never mind the fact that they both use the same chairs and the same table, just in different sizes. This smaller one is informal because it's in the kitchen, okay? I also replaced that rug in the main living space with a patch of purple carpet that came with the Vampires game pack. I often forget that I can make my own rugs out of carpet in this game, but I remembered this time, and I think it looks nice. And since this kitchen never gets used, it's covered in cobwebs and filth, and now I'm starting to bring clutter into the space, and I did put some usable books in the front room and on top of the fireplace in the main living space, but I also scattered book clutter and stacks of books all over. I also put some crates and boxes in a few spots to add to the atmosphere, and even though there's no daylight in this part of the sewer, the sim that lives here still enjoys having roses. Do they get fresh roses every day, or are these roses fake? I don't know. I'm just building the place. At this point, we're just putting on the finishing touches. I do end up adding a couple more things off camera, like painting the ceilings, for example, but I'm going to go ahead and stop talking now and do a walkthrough. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and HipHipRenee, it's your turn.